find our home on fire. We came back to find unwelcome guests. We came back and we tried to live. Times were hard, but we found a way. A way to escape. To hide. To survive.
Generation Zero is a stealth action mix with a vast and intriguing world to discover and puzzles to solve. Play alone or with up to 3 players in a massive open-world terrain that will put your resourcefulness and inventiveness to the test. Because life is a victory. Generation Zero is a cooperative open-world, first-person shooter survival game that may be played online with up to 3 other players or solo. The game takes place in late 1989, in a post-apocalyptic parallel world Sweden overrun by murderous robots. The bots range in size from small spotting drones to lightly armed reconnaissance bots to gigantic bots that tower above the dwellings. The player takes on the character of a Swedish adolescent who returns from an island expedition to discover that the local populace has gone due to the robotic invasion. The player must survive the Swedish wilderness while also seeking to discover the fate of humans who formerly lived there and find a means to combat the robots. The game's graphical aesthetic has been widely compared to Simon Slenhag's artwork, even by the artist himself. Despite apparent similarities, Avalanche Studios has disputed that the game's aesthetic was influenced or driven by Slenhag's painting, and that the artist was not engaged directly or indirectly in the game's development. Initial release date, October 18, 2018. Platforms, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Cloud Gaming. Developer, Avalanche Studios Group. Systemic Reaction, Fatalist Entertainment Tab. Genre, Open World Game. Publishers, Avalanche Studios Group. Systemic Reaction, THQ Nordic. Fatalist Entertainment Tab.
The massacre was only the beginning. Who did this to us? Who attacked the tribe?
Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition is Guerrilla Games' first intellectual property since Killzone in 2004, and it is also the company's first role-playing video game. After the conclusion of Killzone 3, development began in 2011, with director Matthews Jones thinking it the riskiest idea offered at the moment. Decima, the gaming engine, was created for Killzone, Shadowfall, and used for Horizon Zero Dawn. To validate the world's disintegration over a century in a post-apocalyptic context, anthropologists were contacted. Joris Mann oversaw the music, which included contributions by The Flight. Critics complimented Horizon Zero Dawn's open environment, plot, aesthetics, combat, characters, and the performance of voice actress Ashley Birch. Nevertheless, the dialogue, melee combat, and character models were criticized. The game received various accolades and sold more than 20 million copies by February 2022, making it one of the best-selling PlayStation 4 titles. The Frozen Wilds expansion was published in November 2017. Horizon Forbidden West, a sequel, was published on February 18, 2022 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Netflix is working on a television series. Initial release date, February 28, 2017. Developer, Guerrilla Games. Series, Horizon. Publisher, Sony Interactive Entertainment. Genre, Open World Game. Action Role-Playing Game. Platforms, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows. Awards, American Writers Union Award for Best Video Game Screenwriting.
Oh, silent way. Oh, dusty place. Have they forgotten our sacred?
Deliver Us Mars, the sequel to the award-winning Deliver Us the Moon, is an atmospheric sci-fi adventure that provides an immersive astronaut experience. Explore new territories on a high-stakes expedition to recapture the Ark colony ships stolen by the enigmatic Outward. Humanity is on the verge of annihilation 10 years after the Fortuna expedition. Following a mystery distress message from Mars, Earth's youngest astronaut Kathy Johansson joins the Zephyr and its crew on one final mission: to retrieve the Ark colony ships taken by the enigmatic Outward. and thereby assure the human race's survival. Enjoy a highly polished and engrossing story experience filled with interesting gameplay. Every frame is meticulously constructed, offering a suspense-filled, emotion-charged tale alongside music by award-winning composer Sander Van Zanten, cutting-edge motion capture, beautiful visuals, and real-time retraced shadows and reflections powered by Unreal Engine.
The age of humanity has long passed. Scattered across the universe, agents of destruction lay dormant for millennia. Until the awakening. Sentient war machines, relics of a universe in
Planetary Annihilation is a real-time strategy PC game developed by Uber Entertainment, who also worked on Total Annihilation and Supreme Commander. The game was published in 2014, followed by the standalone expansion Planetary Annihilation Titans in 2015. Planetary Annihilation Inc. has been developing Planetary Annihilation and Planetary Annihilation Titans since 2018, with continuing new additions and balancing modifications. Lead game developer John Maver stated in interviews with PC Gamer and Joystick that the game's intricacy and runtime may range from half-hour, two-player clashes to extended engagements with up to 40 players. However, 40-player matches were not yet accessible at the time of publication. Planetary Annihilation has a planet-based map system with several planets and asteroid-like moons. Through the Galactic War, players will be able to conquer other planets and even whole systems on maps that encompass hundreds of worlds. These planets are dynamic in the sense that they can be annihilated with the help of other planets or Catalyst, which is a primary focus for Uber Entertainment. Planetary Annihilation's designers indicated that the game would be similar to the 1997 real-time strategy Total Annihilation in that its focus will be on macro gaming rather than micro gameplay. Maver has said in development updates that the development team's design objective is 1 million in-game units. When their last commander is destroyed, the player lose.
Here they come! Ariel! Take cover! Rocket!
Having fun yet, Rivers? Through here! Come on! Follow her!
Terminator Resistance is a first-person shooter video game released in 2019 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows by Tayan and published by Reef Entertainment. It is set during the original future war described in the films The Terminator and Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and is based on the Terminator franchise. On November 15, 2019, the game was published in Europe. The Windows version was published a day early on Steam in the United States, while the other versions were released on January 7, 2020. On April 30, 2021, an upgraded version of the game on the PlayStation 5 was published. Terminator Resistance is set in post-apocalyptic Los Angeles between 2028 and 2029. Players assume the character of Jacob Rivers, a soldier in John Connor's resistance against Skynet's robotic death robots. There are various endings in the game. A free update in November 2020 included a new game mode called Infiltrator Mode, which allows players to play as a T-800 Infiltrator as it clears scavenger, resistance, and TechCom patrols and holdouts in order to locate an officer of the resistance named Daniel Ramirez. Annihilation Line is downloadable content DLC that will be available in December 2021. It takes place in the campaign mode of the main game. The player, playing as Jacob Rivers, joins forces with Kyle Reese to rescue a group of civilians kidnapped by Skynet.
Time to hit hard and make him regret it.
Vanquish is an action third-person shooter video game produced by Sega for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 video game consoles. It went into production in 2007 and was released internationally in October 2010. On May 25, 2017, a Windows version was launched. On February 18, 2020, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One received the Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th Anniversary Bundle, which included remastered versions of Platinum Games' Vanquish and Bayonetta. The game is renowned for bringing various improvements to the 3D-shooter genre, including as a fast-paced gameplay style reminiscent of 2D bullet hell shooters, beat-em-up components, and an innovative sliding boost system. It garnered a strong critical response upon release, with reviews complimenting the game's fast-paced action, shooter genre advancements, boss battles, and visual style, but criticizing the game's writing, voice acting, and overall campaign length. Initial release date, October 19, 2010. Mode: single-player video game. Developers: Platinum Games, Little Stone Software, Platinum Games Inc. Platforms: PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Xbox 360. Genre: third-person shooter, adventure game. Designers: Shigenori Nishikawa, Junichi Aka. Publisher: Sega of America. BattleTech is a Mechaturn-based strategy video game released by Paradox Interactive and developed by Harebrained Schemes. On April 24, 2018, it was launched for Windows and OS X, with a Linux release to follow. The creators put aside $1 million for the game's development and used Kickstarter to fund extra features, such as a single-player campaign, an extension of that campaign, and a player versus player multiplayer option. In the game, the player takes on the role of a mercenary commander in charge of a squadron of formidable combat vehicles known as battle mechs. The player chooses each mech's model, armor, pilot, weaponry, and talents, and commands a squadron of 4 mechs lance in combat. BattleTech's universe is ruled by great aristocratic houses engaged in a terrible conflict, and the player chooses one or more houses to serve. The game shares a setting with the board game that launched the BattleTech franchise, Classic BattleTech, and many members of the development team have worked on previous games in the franchise. This includes both of the studio's co-founders. Jordan Weissman created the franchise while at FASA, and Mitch Gitelman was the producer for Mech Commander and Mech Assault.